moisture with daily use.
Fall in love with your home comfort this season and save money too. A $29 heating system tune-up from Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric is the best way to ensure your HVAC system is operating at top efficiency. Boost your comfort and help prevent expensive breakdowns by calling the experts at Yes today for your $29 heating system tune-up. Trust the pros at Yes to keep your family comfortable. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
For over 133 years, Central Bank has been a cornerstone of Utah County, providing generations of families and businesses with trusted community banking services, and are more than just a bank. Central Bank is part of Utah's legacy. With 12 convenient locations across Utah County, Central Bank combines the strength of traditional customer service with the convenience of modern technology. Customized one-to-one service means you're never just another account number, and your phone call actually rings to a real person.
Hi there, thanks for calling Central Bank.
Voted best bank and best mortgage in Utah Valley, Central Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs. From top SBA lending services for small businesses and quick turnaround times on construction loans. They're dedicated to helping you build your future. Whether you're cheering for the Cougars or building your dream home, trust the bank that's been here since the beginning. Central Bank, strong, local, secure since 1891. Online at cbutah.com or any of 12 Utah County locations. Central Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Ricky Meese, what's going on?
We're crash-free right now. It's all clear traveling I-15. That's either way between Provo and Brigham City. Just a bit thick on northbound 15 at 21st South heading into downtown Salt Lake City, though. As you come into downtown for tonight's game with game night traffic, slowdowns around the Delta Center. That's on northbound 3rd West between 4 South and North Temple. Steve Carlson in the KSL Traffic Center.
My apologies, Steve. Didn't know that we'd switched around there.
No problem.
We're looking at very cold temperatures overnight, near 10 degrees. Tomorrow, the high a little bit warmer, about 10 degrees higher, high of 36. Right now, 21 degrees downtown. I'm Maria Chaleos, KSL News Radio 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The following is a presentation of KSL Sports. Hello, Cougar Nation.
Handoff middle. First down. Touchdown. And listen to the Cougar Nation.
Every Monday night, we break down the Cougars' last game and look ahead to next week. Cougar Nation, brought to you by Central Bank. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Good evening. Welcome on in, Cougar Nation, to your show. Cougar Nation, Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. We're talking BYU basketball on this loaded day. It's Martin Luther King Day, national championships going on. Notre Dame's got an early lead, and inauguration of President Donald Trump. Busy day, and squeezed into all of this is recapping what transpired for BYU basketball over the weekend against the Utah Utes. And Matt, it was another setback for BYU in what's been a difficult start to Big 12 play.
Another close loss, and I think a lot of BYU fans prefer to focus on everything that's happening today, the inauguration, as you mentioned, the celebration of Martin Luther King Day. I think a lot of BYU fans want to turn the page, but we can't. There's still a lot of Big 12 basketball, Mitch. We got to figure out what's going on with this team.
And we want to hear from you, Cougar Nation, what you feel is wrong with this team, and also answer our question of the day. Who needs to be the guy BYU turns to at the end of games? Call us up, 801-575-8255. We're taking your phone calls over the next hour, 801-575-8255. If you're not the question, you can share your thoughts on this BYU basketball team. Let's dive into this, though, right now with our takeaways.
Cougar Nation takeaways. Mitch and Matt analyze BYU's last week of play and what it means for the next week.
Overtime loss for BYU at the Huntsman Center, 73-72. It was a nail-biter, and look, Big 12's got to be thrilled, first off, with how these BYU-Utah rivalry games are playing out. 1-point games in both football and men's basketball thus far. They've been epic finishes. BYU fans, I think, enjoyed a little bit more of that Will Ferrin action in football more than what took place in the Huntsman Center over on Saturday night. But What's your big takeaway coming out of that loss to the Utes, Matt?
This team has no identity, Mitch, and that makes it hard to know where to go, who to give the ball to at the end of the game. We saw in overtime, every single play in the final minute went to someone else. They tried Richie, they tried Dawson, they tried Foose. Eventually, it was Jaeger at the buzzer trying to make a play. They don't know what to do, and I think that stems from this team doesn't know who they are. Last year, they had a clear identity, and I think that's the number one reason, Mitch, they were able to exceed expectations. Did they have flaws last year? Of course. Of course they did. But game in and game out, they knew what they were trying to do. They were trying to get up and down, fast tempo, shoot as many threes as possible. And on nights that they went in and you made double-digit threes, you were very hard to beat. On nights when they didn't, you lost in the tournament to Duquesne. But at least at the end of the day, you knew what you were doing. This team, throughout the game, there's multiple versions of this team. There's the low post team with Foose, which is heavy isolation. They work it around the perimeter, dump it down low. Foose will either kick it out on a double or back in and put up a hook shot in the post. When he's out of the game, they're running a lot of high pick and roll with Keita and Jaeger. I feel like, man, this team really needs to know, what do we hang our hat on? And we've heard Kevin Young say things like, we got to be gritty. I want us to compete every possession. Those are great things, and you need to do those things. But that's not an identity. When you think of an identity, Mitch, across the great teams that basketball's ever seen, and I'll use the NBA as an example. Shaq and Kobe, they had an identity. Golden State Warriors, they had an identity. Cleveland with LeBron, you knew what they were going to do. You knew in any given moment, you knew who the ball was going to and what they were going to run. That's not the case with this team. It was clear as day in overtime that they didn't know who to go to. They didn't know what to do. And because they don't have an identity, they're losing close games.
BYU falls to 11-6 overall in the season, 2-4 in Big 12 play. And I think you're right. There is a lack of identity with this team right now. And I think what was surprising in that game against Utah for me was the poor defense, particularly in the post in the second half. Utah's Ezra Asor had 26 points, 11 of 15 from the field. It was basically just a highlight reel of layups, just underneath the bucket, and just goes up wide open, layup after layup. It was poor defense in the post, and Kevin Young was disappointed in that defense in the middle of the second half and played a big role in BYU losing that game.
Hard-fought game. They made plays down the stretch. We came up short. I thought our defense in the second part or the middle part of the second half let us down a little bit. We adjusted, and they made plays.
They did, and Utah ended up shooting 45% from the field. BYU only 38%. Both teams couldn't knock it down from beyond the arc. 27% for BYU, 26% for the Utes, and then free throws. We'll get to that, I'm sure, at some point this show because that was a big piece of this. But another takeaway I have from this game, Matt, is that this kind of goes along the lines of what you were saying. This team doesn't appear to be getting better. 6 consecutive games with pretty much the full personnel. Since Jaeger came back, Richie came back, the start of Big 12 play, this team's not getting better. In Utah and TCU, the last 2 games where they've lost, had setbacks on the road, those are teams that I think BYU's got more talent than. Just going to get it done on the road, and they cannot figure things out late in games, and that just leaves me concerned about BYU going forward because they're not getting better. They're losing the games that you would think that they're going to be the favorite in. This schedule is going to ramp up here significantly in February. Time is ticking on this BYU team making a run and getting back on the good side of the bracketology projections.
When was the last time this team looked good? Like, when was there a 10-minute stretch where you felt like on both ends of the floor they were playing high-level basketball? Like, I can't even remember the last time that this team played a really solid stretch of basketball. I mean, maybe a little Arizona State first half.
First half against Oklahoma State last Tuesday. I thought they were pretty solid. But then they had that lapse in the second half where it's a 22-2 run by Oklahoma State, and they're back in it. It's a one-possession game. So, there's just – it feels like when they take a step forward, there's a couple steps back, and you're always playing catch-up with this team. And so, yeah, it's been a while since probably that New Year's Eve against Arizona State where this team has looked really good.
My second takeaway, free throw shooting is killing this team. 4 of 10 against Utah. They missed multiple front ends. Now, I think there's a lot of fans out there who want to point the finger at the officials. The free throw disparity, it was significant in that game. I don't believe that's the reason they lost, because if they had just made 7 of 10 free throws, they probably win that basketball game. The way that game was officiated, it certainly played a role in the game. I'm not going to say it didn't, but BYU had multiple opportunities to win that game despite the questionable officiating. And when you get to the line, I mean, Trevin Nell, with under 10 seconds to go in the game, is setting a screen and gets fouled. If you just make those free throws, you likely win that basketball game. Despite all the craziness, all the lack of defense at points, the poor shooting, if you just go and do the simple things, the little things, to quote Steve Young, one of my favorite Steve Young clips from the NFL Films vault is he's talking to Terrell Owens, and he's like, it's the little things. Like, get back to the huddle on time. Don't complain to the refs. Just do the little things. That's how we sustain drives. The little things. Make a crisp pass. Make a free throw. Do the little things. And the free throws are those. They're 30 of 50 in their 3 conference losses. Outside of Houston, they got blown out. I'm not counting that one. But if you look at the winnable ones, TCU, 14 of 19. Texas Tech, 12 of 21. Utah, 4 of 10. That's 60% in these losses that they just shoot 80%. We're having a very different conversation, Mitch. So free throw shooting, what should be easy is hard for this team, and that is a problem.
BYU finished 4 of 10, and Trevin Nell, that was his only attempt of the night, and he missed it. And, that's going to be something that lives with Trevin, unfortunately, probably for a while. I mean, he will have a chance to get revenge against Utah, and this whole BYU team will in March. But, man, that's just one of those shots that many Cougar fans will probably remember. And hopefully Trevin's got a chance to redeem himself and get a chance to knock that down, that big shot in a big game in the future in the schedule, because, as we know, the Big 12's got so many great opportunities, but they've got to start winning games because, yeah, it'll be great when you get the chance to play Iowa State, but ultimately, if you're a 5-11 team in Big 12 play, you're not going to be in the conversation for the bracket, and you got to start winning these games now, and taking care of business at the free throw line helps that cause. BYU right now is not shooting great, 13th in the Big 12 Conference for the entire season in free throw percentage during league play, near the bottom as well. So BYU's got to be able to knock down their shots because it has just not been going well for them. 66% in conference play from the charity stripe. We'll take our first time out right now. We'll continue to talk more BYU basketball and answer the question of the day, who needs to be the go-to guy for BYU at the end of games. We want to hear from you as well. 801-575-8255. Cougar Nation sponsored by Central Bank, serving Utah County for over 133 years with trusted service, modern technology, and personalized care. Central Bank, proud sponsor of Cougar Nation, right here on KSL News Radio.
Join the smartest conversation in Utah, the team of analysts and political advisors that make up Inside Sources. Get unfiltered analysis of the new administration, the president's cabinet, and Utah's upcoming legislative session. Inside Sources, weekdays from 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Things are just better with a partner or a friend. And when it comes to losing weight, Soda Weight Loss makes it easier than ever to let go of the weight for good.
I'd been wanting to lose weight, and I tried on my own. I'd been seeing things for soda, and so we talked to the nutritionist and loved every bit of it. I couldn't be happier, honestly, with the result.
Join with a partner and only pay for one. Imagine achieving all your weight loss goals together with your partner, and you only pay for one.
I've let go 50 pounds, and I don't have the cravings that I used to have.
I would definitely recommend soda. It's because it works. I even recommended it to my daughter, and she's on her journey now.
Just go and look at the almost 9,000 Google reviews about soda weight loss. Lose the weight without injections, without medications, without hunger. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
The KSL News Radio Movie Show comes to My Hearing Centers today from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
Imagine a currency that has true value. A currency that's local, protects your wealth, and resists inflation. Now imagine that currency is anchored to the stability of gold. Introducing Goldbacks, a currency made of 24-karat gold, accepted at over 800 businesses in Utah. Don't just imagine it. Visit alpinegold.com to start spending in gold. Use promo code RADIO to get free shipping on orders of over $200 or more.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return air. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 30th, get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you with gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage because right now you can also get a free 5G phone with trade-in. So save big and stay connected to what you love with fast gig speed internet and mobile from home to hotspots. This new year, it's all about gig speeds and big savings. Don't wait and get gig speed internet, spend less green, and switch to Xfinity. Go to xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and fees extra. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon Fiber Gig plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Fiber Gig plus one unlimited starter line. Xfinity internet required reduced speeds after 30 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual speeds vary.
Experience the Crossings by Fieldstone Homes. Enjoy elevated lifestyle in this beautiful Heber Valley Luxury Series community near parks, a fishing pond, pool, and clubhouse minutes from Park City, Salt Lake City, in Utah County. With serene mountain views and plenty of fresh air, we stand out in the Crossings with unique transitional architecture and options for built-in rental suites or ADU apartments. These homes are simply gorgeous and near 2 reservoirs, Provo River, Daniels Summit, and ski resorts. Join Fieldstone Homes for a truly unique home buying solution. Saturday, January 25th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the grand opening of the Crossroads in Heber. Enjoy lunch from the on-site food truck and grand opening giveaways while you explore these beautiful new homes. Design your new home or select a quick move-in home. The curated Fieldstone design and architecture is unmatched. With multiple incentive offers and floor plans starting in the mid-900s, you've got to visit fieldstonehomes.com for details. Fieldstone Homes. It's time.
How many things affect your life as much as slow traffic and bad weather? Listen tomorrow morning for Traffic and Weather Together every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
Cougar Nation, welcome back in here to your show, Cougar Nation. Sponsored by Central Bank here on KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. If you miss any part of the show, subscribe to the podcast feed. Just search Cougar Nation wherever you get your podcast or go on the KSL Sports app. Check out Cougar Sports Saturday as well. We hold it down on the weekends, noon to 3 here on KSL. And, Matt, we've been asking the question for BYU basketball on the heels of this overtime loss to Utah, 73-72 at the Huntsman Center. Who needs to be the guy BYU turns to at the end of games? And this becomes a storyline because BYU on Saturday turned to Dawson Baker for one of the key shots down the stretch, which was probably the the play you would point to and say that was the design play call. Yegor's last heave was, as Kevin Young pointed out, a broken play. Who do you think should be the go-to guy for BYU at the end of games?
It should be Dallin Hall. And we didn't see that again. And I'm just puzzled at why that keeps happening, because as we discussed at length on Cougar Sports Saturday, getting you ready for this rivalry game, Dallin Hall has been there, done that, and I like his decision-making. I thought his decision-making in this game was solid as well. And look, he only scored 2 points, and he's 0-5 from the field, and that's not very good. But then you look at what, when you think about a point guard, in a perfect world, you're getting all of it, right? But at the very minimum, can you run the offense, get other people looks? Against Utah, 4 assists, no turnovers. I like that. You look at Yegor, 2-1. So it's not even close right now who is the better point guard in terms of decision-making. And I also think, too, this might be an unpopular opinion, but Dallin Hall can get to the rim better than Yegor right now. How many times did he drive in and then dump it off to Foose, or can he get the beautiful alley-oop to Keita? That was a highlight play that's just going to get forgotten because of the result of this game. I would love it to be Dallin Hall. I loved that that Dawson Baker play, by the way. I think that was well executed. It didn't go. I thought there could have been a foul there. It looked very similar to what Hunter Erickson drew the previous time down, where he got 2 free throws and gave Utah the lead. That, those are the breaks sometimes in this crazy Big 12 physical game where the calls don't make a lot of sense some of the times. But I thought it was a quality look. I don't know if I would go to Dawson every single time. That's why I want it to be Dallin. But I did like that play from Baker, and it didn't work out. What about you, Mitch?
I would say probably Richie Saunders, just because he feels like the one guy that you can count on every single night as of late for this BYU team. And it was interesting, Richie Saunders had 10 points in that first half against Utah on only 6 shots. And even Craig Smith, Utah head coach, pointed out how good Richie Saunders was in that game on Saturday, and they pretty much zeroed in on him. And it just kind of highlighted how there is a bit of an adjustment for Richie now that he is atop the opponent's scouting report. That was a bit of a storyline going into the matchup, and you saw, that impact show itself in the second half and overtime. He finished with 16 points, 6 of 16 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. But, I think Richie Saunders is probably the guy because he feels like he's the most automatic, too, from the beyond the arc as of late. This BYU team's not shooting the ball well, and that's where I just feel really concerned with this group. Like, if they're losing games but still shooting the ball at a nice clip, I feel like they're going to turn the corner. And I think what's concerning for this team right now, Matt, is that Kevin Young is, made some changes to the lineups. He's made changes to the groupings, the rotations, yet nothing's working. And then you go, how many more, levers can he pull to make changes and get this right? It doesn't feel like there's a clear answer anymore, and that's why I would probably say Richie Saunders one, and then right behind him as far as go-to guys, probably Dallin Hall. And, but I'd go Richie because he feels like he's almost automatic, the way he's shooting the ball behind the three-point arc. Utah's just maybe given a little bit of a blueprint going forward how to defend him. They put so much effort into defending him in that second half, and you hope for BYU that that doesn't become the norm where it impacts the efficiency of Saunders on the offensive end, because they need him going forward. So I'd say Richie, but it's still kind of a mystery right now.
My only concern with Richie in that role is I just don't know if that plays to his strengths. Is there a situation where you get him the ball on the wing and you bring him a high pick and roll and you feel good about that? Maybe not. I think, to me, Richie is perfectly cast in his role right now, which is run the offense through Hall or Yegor, and then if it finds its way to Richie, which it often does, he pulls the trigger and buries a three, or then an action is run, it ends up with Richie, then he puts the ball on the floor and gets to the rim. I conceptually am having a hard time seeing, take that Baker play, for example. He did miss it, but if you ran that for Richie, would you get as good of a look? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, Dawson Baker's interesting, too, because throughout this whole entire season, Kevin Young has, always hinted at Dawson Baker being a guy that they could turn to late. I mean, he said that in non-conference play or even earlier this month when asked, and he pointed to Dawson. They have a lot of confidence in him, and you almost wonder if maybe that's another move they consider is maybe putting a backcourt of him and Dallin Hall as the starting five. And I think that's an interesting thought too. Is because the top guy at the end of games is going to be critical for this team, but this group's got to get off to better starts too. I thought the Utah game was okay, but still there's this slow start to games with that starting five for BYU, and it felt like the offensive efficiency turned up a bit when Dallin Hall, who's a ball-dominant guy, kind of took over. And, I think BYU, they put so much effort into kind of creating this scheme around Yegor Demin, and it's just right now they haven't made much progress, and it's not working, and time's ticking, and you got to start getting wins, and you maybe got to adjust on the fly.
Yegor, 9 points, 4-12. I like that he was aggressive, 6 rebounds. Yes. He did his part on the glass. The problem is his offense is so bad in terms of shooting the ball right now that you just don't have any confidence that it's going to go in. And I also feel like defenses are recognizing this, Mitch. Craig Smith noted how poorly Demin is shooting the ball, and that factored into their game plan, for heaven's sake. Yeah. So they have to find a way to use him better, and maybe that's less ball in his hands, more just if he gets it in the fast break, then go from there. But something is not right with Demin right now, and they got to figure it out quick.
They have to figure it out quick because time, like I said, is ticking on this BYU basketball team as they get ready for tomorrow night. They're going to be taking on the Colorado Buffaloes. We'll have a bit of a preview coming up a little bit later in this show. We got to take a timeout, though. On the other side, we'll get to more BYU basketball commentary about what's trending up and what's trending down with this BYU basketball team right here on KSL News Radio.
Good evening. It's 6:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story is developing news. President Donald Trump says he has pardoned 1,500 U.S. Capitol rioters and is issuing 6 commutations. The president told reporters at the Oval Office tonight that he has also signed more executive actions addressing immigration, including an action to try and end birthright citizenship and the designation of drug cartels as foreign terrorists. President Trump began his second term as president this morning by declaring a state of emergency at the U.S. border with Mexico.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
An immigration attorney in Utah says he's already getting calls from clients about Trump's order. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has more.
Immigration attorney Carlos Trujillo has been busy reassuring clients about the impact of both the emergency declaration and the executive order on birthright citizenship. He's reminding them that these actions must go through the legal process, and for now, time is on their side.
It's very important for everybody to understand that this is not going to be a stroke of a pen. Those that could be affected by this is that this is not something that is going to happen just today because he's doing an executive action.
Trujillo called the action a direct assault on asylum seekers fleeing violence, describing it as both inhumane and a violation of the Constitution. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Coming up, we'll check and see if we're going to get a break from these cold temperatures. The forecast and a look at your drive coming up next.
Spend your workday with a talk show that makes you feel better about the news.
Debbie is the voice of reason, and Dave reminds me of my little brother. Well-spoken, and they're a great team together.
Dave and Debbie, live from 9 to noon, or podcast the show on the app for KSL News Radio.
At Intermountain Children's Health, we've created a bold plan called Primary Promise to build the nation's model health system for children. Help us achieve this once-in-a-generation vision so together we can bring the world-class care of Primary Children's Hospital closer to home for every child in our communities. For more than a century, Primary Children's has kept the child first and always. Join us for the next 100 years. To learn more, visit primarypromise.org.
Bills stacking up at your HVAC system's gone. Gillette Services has the perfect solution. Install a new high-efficiency system and get a $1,000 rebate the very same day. That's right, $1,000 in your pocket just for upgrading. And the best bet, you don't have to make a single payment until 2027. Don't miss this limited time offer. Call 385-GET-HEAT for your free estimate. Gillette Services. Comfort now, pay later.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
a Carrier factory authorized dealer.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you taking GLP-1 injections like semaglutides, but wondering how you can keep the weight off long term? Or maybe the weight just isn't coming off as quickly as you thought it would? If you weren't given a specific food plan to follow, you might be at risk of putting the weight back on once the injections end. At SaltLakeCityFatLoss.com, our supervised nutrition plan could help support you and maximize your weight loss results now and empower you with the tools to keep the weight off long term once the injections end.
Hey, I'm Dave Noriega. I know you love resolutions. How about a new you in the new year? Do what I did. Make that call to Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I lost 57 pounds in 60 days. That's right. Lose up to a pound per day with Salt Lake City Fat Loss.
At SLCFatLoss.com, we offer a proven approach to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day without exercising or prepackaged foods or counting calories. Plus, our strategies can help you keep the weight off long term. Don't wait. Go to SLCFatLoss.com to schedule your free consultation. That's SLCFatLoss.com. Results may vary.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Steve?
Got a crash clearing right now, Maria. This is in West Valley, eastbound 35th South at 3200 west by the Valley Fair Mall. That's on the right side. Good speeds, though, on I-15 up and down the Wasatch Front tonight, both ways between Provo and Brigham City. Game night traffic around the Delta Center. Got delays on northbound 3rd West between 4th South and North Temple. Steve Carlson at the KSL Traffic Center.
The low tonight down into the teens, 10 degrees actually. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer on Friday though. Friday we actually get up to about 40 degrees. Then that chance of showers returns, 40% chance by Saturday. 21 degrees. I'm Maria Chaleos, KSL News Radio 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Be ready for BYU Game Day. Download the KSL News Radio app to stream BYU games, plus breaking news during the week. That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Welcome back into Cougar Nation here on KSL News Radio, coming to you live from Salt Lake City Broadcast House. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. BYU basketball facing some tough times, Matt. They could use a little bit of a message like President Trump earlier today in his inauguration. I will win for you. We are going to win like never before. BYU needs to start winning like never before because they got to get back into the bracket because, man, it'd be real disappointing with this roster that's very talented to not make the NCAA tournament.
They're not anywhere near a bracket right now. Now, the good news is, Mitch, there's a lot of opportunities. And there's a lot of great opportunities coming your way in Provo as well. So I think if you even get to, 8 and maybe 9 and 11 in conference play, maybe that's good enough.
I would say probably 10 and 10 at least because 9 and 11 with the weak non-conference schedule won't be enough.
Yeah, fair. That's
losing record. If they had a strong non-conference schedule, they would be able to probably sneak in with a 9 and 11 record. But with a losing record and their weak non-conference strength of schedule, they've got to be at least 10 and 10 at least.
There's a lot of hard road games too, so they're going to have to get some people on the road, and they got to defend the Marriott Center, and it all starts tomorrow, which we'll break down in the next one. But right now, let's get to what's trending.
Cougar Nation trending. What's trending up and what's trending down this season?
I'll start things off, Matt, as BYU is 11-6 on the season, 2-4 in Big 12 play. There are some positives. Let's start off with the good news with this BYU team, because I do believe that there are always positives. You know, whenever a loss happens, it's never as bad as it seems. It's never, doomsday, but you can always find some positives. But that was a tough one at the Huntsman Center. But the positives, to me, trending up is Mawut Mag. Mawut Mag had that big corner three that in the moment felt like that was going to be a game winner, and that was going to be his defining moment as a BYU Cougar. And that obviously did not happen.
And then Keita slipped, and Utah had a dunk on the other.
However, I think Mag is doing a really nice job in his veteran presence, not being fazed by these hostile environments. He's navigated the Big Ten. I think he's showing up. And it was kind of crazy. He got an early technical foul call, and Kevin Young spoke to the media today and said Mag didn't even know what he said that warranted that. So that was kind of interesting, I thought. But Mag's bringing, toughness, I think, at times. They need to, bring that physicality in this tough league that is the Big 12. I think Mag's doing a nice job. Considering the low expectations for him coming into the season, I think he's really exceeding that right now.
Trending up for me, I'm liking Foose. I like the role that they've carved out for him. 8 of 13, 16 points, though. How do you not get to the free throw line one time? He was banging away in the paint repeatedly. No free throws for Foose, but Foose is playing good basketball. I like when he comes in. They know what they're doing. The most identifiable this team is at any moment is when Foose and Hall are on the floor. There's going to be some pick and roll, and there's going to be some low post touches, and that seems to be their most consistent brand of offense. I think Foose is playing some good basketball, and maybe they need more of Foose. He plays 23 minutes. Maybe get him around the 30-minute mark. If his conditioning is there, I don't see anything to say that he couldn't play 30 minutes a game. So I like where Foose is trending right now.
That's a good pull. Foose, and I will tell you, that emotion Foose had in the post-game press conference, that was as devastated as I've seen a BYU player in a long time after a game. And he didn't say much. He only got like one question, I believe, asked his direction, but you could tell that loss meant a lot to Foose, who's a senior. That was his last opportunity to go to the Huntsman Center, and they come away with an L. And that's my trending down, is the dominance over Utah in the men's basketball side of this rivalry. It could have been a tone setter for the Big 12, era of this rivalry. And I think it's a little bit of a bummer that BYU had to go back-to-back years in the Huntsman Center. I know it's, you're going to get a game in a couple weeks and months at the Marriott Center, but I thought that was unfortunate by the Big 12 to say you played at the Huntsman last year and then you go back again for the first one. Why don't they do that for football? Anyway, I digress. But I think that was a missed opportunity by this team beyond just simply metrics and getting a win and, just having that dominance in the rivalry. And Kevin Young shared his thoughts on the environment in his first rivalry game. This was Coach Kevin Young after the loss.
If anything, I thought it made us play harder. It was a good game, hard-fought game. I think two well-coached teams. Craig's a good coach, does a good job. Good environment. I didn't hear anything, kind of over the line as far as, you hear all kinds of horror stories. My kids thought they were walking into a UFC fight. They were, scared to come up here. And so I thought it was classy on Utah's part, hard-fought game, and will make me hungry to play them again, for sure.
Somebody get Dana White on the line to broker a BYU-Utah octagon. It was pretty okay. I mean, there were some chants from the Muss that were a curse word plus BYU. You can picture what that chant entailed.
It wasn't a soft curse word. We'll leave it at that.
It was not. But by all accounts, it seemed like the interactions, because we were right there in the middle of the crowd at Media Row. And we had
it's not as nasty at the Huntsman Center as it is at Rice-Eccles.
Yes, the basketball side of the rivalry is a little more calm compared to football. Excuse me, football just. I think
football's nasty.
Football in general just has such high emotion with everything that that's just, it brings out a different element. Basketball, I thought it was pretty tame by all accounts. There was a lot of BYU fans in the upper deck in the general admission area, a lot of Utah fans, sellout crowd, still some empty seats, but I thought it was a pretty good atmosphere, I thought.
Trending down for me, you touched on it a moment ago with the MAG technical, and I want to be clear, I'm not blaming this loss on the officials at all, but the Big 12 officiating crews leave a lot to be desired, Mitch. MAG gets a tech for celebrating in front of the Utah bench. We couldn't hear, so we don't know what he said. But Keita rejected a ball in front of the Utah bench and then walked right in front of him. Yes. He looked like he was taunting them, and he doesn't get a tech. There's no consistency across the board, and I could give you a dozen examples of this from that game. I don't need to waste your time. There was the technical fouls, which we went over, and then the Hunter Erickson where he had the go-ahead free throws. I thought that was really ticky-tack for a game that was super physical, and then to not get that on the other end with Dawson Baker, I don't understand what we're trying to do when it comes to officiating. At times, it's super physical, and I think a lot of people think of the Big 12 as being some physical league. Then how's Hunter Erickson getting that call? If we're playing physical basketball, Foose blew up Lovering at one point, and it was a good no call, actually. Throws down the dunk, and I'm like, okay, great. Like, they're letting him play, and then those type of things are being called. It's got to be so maddening as a coach and a player, regardless of the game, regardless of which side you're rooting for. It's got to be incredibly frustrating to play in this league because you have no idea what you're getting from night to night, from half to half, from moment to moment. It is so inconsistent. It's frustrating. And at times, too, it feels like the Big 12 officiating crews, they want to have the spotlight on them. We're calling a bunch of whistles. You're going to be in the double bonus with 9 minutes to go in the game. It's not fun. That's not what basketball is about. It's not about constant stoppages and inconsistent whistles. You want to see flow. You want to see action. You have none of that in this conference. It's frustrating. And I think for a lot of BYU fans, a couple years ago you would have said, yes, you're describing the WCC officials. To me, it's no different. It's not any better. And maybe this is across the country in college basketball. Maybe it's just an issue that this sport faces, but gosh dang it, Mitch, it is so frustrating, the inconsistency of these officials night in and night out. It's taking away from the product. It's taking away from the enjoyment of this beautiful game, and I hate it.
26 fouls for BYU, 17 for Utah. That's a combined 43 fouls called in a game that was played for 45 minutes. You're talking almost a foul a minute, and no one wants to see that many whistles taking place in a game that's always going to be a little more physical, a little bit chippy. I mean, what was that takedown, that Foose, that tangled up situation with Foose and Lovering. Foose basically brought down Lovering, and that was a foul on Foose. I mean, it was a physical game. But you're right. I mean, every single night it's a little bit different style and different approach the way that these whistles are happening, and sometimes even within a game, first half to overtime, some of the things that weren't being called in the first half suddenly getting called.
OT was a joke. 6-1 personal fouls in a game that was that physical. Like, give me a break. And the one foul that BYU gets in overtime is a dead ball on a screen where it's just, come on. Like, this can't be reality. I'm sorry. We deserve better. If we want to be the best league in college basketball, it's got to be better than what we had up at the Huntsman Center, and quite frankly, what we've had all season long. And that's in wins and in losses, Mitch. It's not just, when you lose, it's the officials' fault. BYU lost this game because they couldn't make plays. They couldn't make free throws. They couldn't make shots. That's why they lost the game. But along the way, can the officials get out of the way and call a game that makes sense and is consistent so that the players can adjust and play accordingly? Because I don't feel like that's happening right now.
I agree. BYU falls again to Utah 73-72. Cougar Nation is sponsored by Central Bank, serving Utah County for over 133 years with trusted service, modern technology, and personalized care. Central Bank, proud sponsors here on Cougar Nation. We're taking a break, and we will preview BYU and Colorado tomorrow night in Boulder. Get you an early look at that game and maybe check in what's going on in the College Football National Championship game as well, right here on Cougar Nation.
Join the smartest conversation in Utah, the team of analysts and political advisors that make up Inside Sources.
Get unfiltered analysis of the new administration, the president's cabinet, and Utah's upcoming legislative session. Inside Sources, weekdays from 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. Every time Dee and I shop at NPS, we of course look for the great bargains, but we have come up with kind of a plan. We know the things that are normally there, especially in the grocery department, and of course you can rely on that, 20 to 70% off each and every day. But if you're smart, you really look for the things that are on special in that store, and it's above and beyond the savings I've already mentioned. It's incredible, the values you find. And what's fun for Dee and for me is to shop for our grandkids. Look for fun things that are there over in toys and in clothing and little treats that just kind of come along every now and then, and they're at exceptional prices. Each and every store, Layton, Orem, Salt Lake, and the industrial store in Salt Lake right across the street, you can count on the very best buys. Great people who work at NPS who help you out. They're waiting for you right now where you can really save. Nice place to save.
This January, Ogden is the epicenter of amazing RV deals during the Northern Utah RV Show, January 23rd to the 25th. Inside the Golden Spike Event Center, you'll find unbeatable pricing on new and used travel trailers starting as low as $129 per month on approved credit, and fifth wheels starting as low as $349 per month OAC. You'll also find every remaining new 2024 on clearance during the show. Plus, you can play now and pay later with no payments until April OAC. We'll also have the entire lineup of Go Play travel trailers ready to tour and take home at the lowest pricing of the year. Start shopping the biggest deals now at NorthUtahRVShow.com. On top of unbeatable pricing, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year RV Fix membership, your fast track to RV service repairs. Get in for free to Ogden's biggest new and used RV sale, the Northern Utah RV Show. 3 days only, January 23rd through the 25th, inside the Golden Spike Event Center. Sponsored by Bish's RV.
Stock numbers 81734-87503. Based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 to 240 months. Subject to prior sale. See dealer details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
It doesn't matter if your only neighbors are wildlife. Or just wild in general.
I would propose that amendment.
If you work from home, or work is technically at home, every homeowner can save money by getting a ThermWise home energy plan from Enbridge Gas. Discover ways to make your home more energy efficient and apply for rebates if you purchase any energy efficient appliances. Schedule a home energy plan from Enbridge Gas at thermwise.com.
When Jen Drummond isn't climbing mountains and breaking records, she likes taking things easy.
That's why I appreciate My Style checking from Mountain America.
Making look easy.
My Style makes life a breeze. And the mountain of extra benefits is incredible. Shopping and entertainment discounts, mobile phone protection. My Style checking has it all.
Make it look easy.
Gear up for your next journey with My Style checking. Only at Mountain America.
Membership required based on eligibility. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Cougar fans, use this radio station tomorrow morning for important news updates. Listen to Utah's most important radio station tomorrow morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
It's so strange to me watching college football this late in January, watching Ohio State.
It's horrible, Mitch. This has no juice. This is not fun. Ohio State, Notre Dame. It's a week too late.
Ohio State up 14-7. It's 4:53 left in the second quarter. You know, the 12-team playoff, you knew there's going to be some scheduling quirks that were going to be different. I love the 12-team playoff. I think it's a great thing. But, yes, this feels a little bit weird because, we're on this show here on Cougar Nation, Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you, we're neck deep now in basketball. And it just feels like we've all kind of collectively, as a college sports society, turned the page to hoops, except for these two fan bases that are like, we're still playing football. I mean, BYU football is about a week now into winter conditioning for 2025. They've got their 2025 roster. It's coming together, whereas these two teams haven't settled anything for 2024. I don't know. It's just kind of hard to compute in my brain of, wow, there's college football being played on January 20th. You're right. It does feel like it lacks a little bit of juice here.
The whole calendar's got to be moved up, and maybe that's eliminate a game. Maybe that's get rid of the conference championship games, but you should have the Final Four on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and then a week later the championship game. And then we're off to college hoops and NFL playoffs, but this is way too late. And I haven't given college football a thought in weeks, and it's kind of a bummer that the biggest game in college football, Mitch, was just swept under the rug. Like, from a football perspective, we're all talking about the Final Four in football and how great of a day in the NFL we had yesterday where Puka and the Rams had a chance to steal a game from the Eagles. Like, Puka made an unbelievable catch at the end of that game, and then Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the rematch in the AFC. Like, that's where the attention is on football, and yet this game is being played, and it's just a bummer because you and I, we love college football. We grew up on college football. College football is the best, and it needs to have a spotlight, and it needs to have a postseason that makes sense, and we're getting there, little by little, but this game has got to be played a lot sooner.
I agree. It's been a clinic so far for Ohio State QB Will Howard. He's 11 of 11 already, so Buckeyes up by 7. Well,
how would you fix this, Mitch? What are your thoughts on the playoff and the calendar, and what do you think makes sense for the sport?
I would ditch the conference championship games and get rid of those and find some sort of tiebreaker to figure out who your conference champ is. But really in these supersized leagues where you don't play everyone, conference championships don't mean don't have as much significance. They're important from the standpoint of getting a bid to the playoff, but you want to also maintain your possible teams in the playoffs. So one less game to take hits and get rid of those games.
What do you think of this? Let me throw something wild at you. What if for the last week of the season it remained open and you slotted matchups? That could be the de facto conference championship game just a week earlier, and maybe teams 3 and 4 could also play for a chance to boost a resume for an at-large bid.
I like that too. I just think something's got to change on the calendar because this is a bit strange. Because we're thinking all about BYU basketball right now, and BYU's turning the page to tomorrow. They're already in Boulder. They just touched down there about an hour ago in Colorado. BYU versus Colorado in Boulder, 9 p.m. tip tomorrow night. So get your afternoon nap in when you get back to work from this 3-day holiday weekend.
How are we supposed to get our nap in if we have to go to work, Mitch?
Get your afternoon nap. Get ready for a late night. Pregame will start here on KSL at 8 p.m. I'll be inside the arena in Boulder with some coverage on KSLSports.com. But do you like BYU's chances of getting the bounce-back win, Matt? They are a favorite in this game.
No, I don't like their chances to get the bounce-back win. I'm just having a hard time talking myself into any road wins until they get one. This team desperately, as Kevin Young put it, Mitch, they need to find a way to win. This is what he said after the Utah game about these close games, man. It's almost a skill winning these close games.
We got to learn how to win close games. We're right there in all these games. We've got a chance to win. I just told our club in there, you win and lose games on the margins, in close games. And, we've come up short and too many times, and that's disappointing. I thought tonight we had a lot of resolve, with our back against the wall. We made a lot of necessary plays that we weren't making in other games. I thought our offensive execution was actually really good down the stretch. And so there's growth moments there, but we got to string together more things than we currently are.
Maybe the cure, Matt, is facing a team in Colorado that is winless in conference play, 0-6. But I will say this: watching a couple of their games, the last 3 games in their entirety, diving into them today. They have a player, 6'11", 185, Bengot Dak, who they put into their starting lineup last week. He's a sophomore. He has been a stud. Last week against Cincinnati, he had 8 block shots, 19 points, 8 rebounds. He was all over the place. So they've got talent, and this was always going to be viewed as a bridge year for Colorado this season after last year's team was really good. They got to the NCAA tournament. Tad Boyle's squad getting back into the Big 12. They've got the ability, and they've tested pretty much everyone on their home court. They had a close call against UCF, close call against West Virginia. They just can't get over the hump. They even were hanging tough with Iowa State to open league play. So I'm with you. I think this is going to be a very difficult game. I do believe BYU will win, though. I said the same thing against Utah, but I think BYU finds a way to get that first road win under head coach Kevin Young, and a much-needed win because I'll tell you, Matt, I mean, I don't want to get too reactionary, but I just feel like if you lose this game against a winless team, season really can nosedive.
The season's over if you lose. This is as close to a must-win as you can possibly get in college basketball at this point in the season because this team is not very good. And BYU, their confidence is fragile. And getting a win here, I think, would go a long way because then you come home. You have a late game later in the week against Cincinnati. You win out this week, I think you're in a much better position. If you lose this one, though, I don't know where you go. I don't know how you regain the confidence because the schedule is getting much more difficult soon.
Great show, Matt. We will talk to you on Saturday. BYU, Colorado tomorrow night, 9 o'clock tip, pregame at 8 here on KSL.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
7 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. Just hours after his inauguration, President Donald Trump in the Oval Office for the first time signed an order pardoning U.S. Capitol rioters.
We hope they get him. We hope they come out tonight, frankly.
Trump says the order will pardon about 1,500 convicted January 6 rioters with 6 commutations. Here in Utah, a police chase, an arrest, and a crash sent an officer to the hospital. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has new details on what happened Friday night.
Unified police and a helicopter were pursuing a stolen vehicle through South Salt Lake, Murray, and Sandy, even after driving over spike strips. Police eventually stopped him and arrested him. But while this was going on, Unified Police Sergeant Amy Race says an officer was hit in his car by someone who wasn't involved.
An officer attempted to clear an intersection. However, unfortunately, another vehicle did not see the officer with their lights initiated trying to clear that intersection, and a crash occurred.
Both the officer and the driver were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Ray says the officer has since been released. Meanwhile, the man who was arrested, 30-year-old Leonard Clark, has done stuff like this before. He was arrested back in 2019 and twice in 2024 for a variety of charges, ranging from failure to stop for officers, drug possession, and reckless driving, though this is the first time he could face a charge for a stolen vehicle. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Traffic is flowing smoothly across Utah's major roads and highways. I-15, 215, and 80 all look clear for your evening drive. And it gets cold tonight with a low of 12 degrees. Tomorrow we're looking at a high of 36 with mostly sunny skies. Right now it is 19 and clear. I'm Claire Scott, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 30th, get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you with gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage because right now you can also get a free